Hello everyone, this is Roland. Today I want to talk about, as always, important things. Today I want to talk about a way of living and moving and having your being, whereby you can be close to God. Now, that means a lot. Let's see if I can put it in some words that will help you to see what I'm trying to say. The human race is a fallen race. We're not rising up. We're not rising up apes, rising from the slime. We're not evolved apes. We're fallen. Adam and Eve originally would have lived forever. But they made a mistake. And because of their mistake, they lost the ability to live forever. And instead of living forever, perpetually renewed in God's light and God's love on a daily basis, they had to instead eat and work. And what life force they had was gradually used up. And another thing is that instead of living, being perpetually regenerated on a daily basis, refreshed in God's light and love and warmth and grace, instead they had to procreate. They had to make replacement beings, replacement bodies to replace their dying bodies. So when Adam died, there would be a replacement body there. See, so it's a form of eternal life, if you want to call it that. I mean, but it's not really eternal life. It's just replacing one, replacing another, replacing another. See, so it's a different kind of life. So instead of the spiritual life came the earthly life, the sensual life, the fallen life. Okay? And it all happened because Adam responded to, the spirit of temptation, which tempted him to be ambitious through knowledge. Remember? Through knowledge, to be ambitious, to try to do it on his own. And to this day, you see it happening over and over again. They say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Well, today's Adam and Eve's are repeating the same old scenario again, just as Adam did. Every new generation, same thing. So you have men who are ambitious, okay, who want to do it on their own, and they require what? Knowledge. And that's why knowledge is big business. Have you noticed? Have you noticed how big a thing knowledge is? Universities and colleges. And then there's religious knowledge. Okay? All kinds of schools and colleges and universities and books and bookstores, and people are endlessly learning. Wasn't it Paul that said people are endlessly learning but never coming to Never coming to understanding. So you have that, and then you have people being prideful. Look how prideful people are. Somebody guesses which team is going to win the contest, or every time a person gets some kind of little knowledge tidbit, then he or she goes out and immediately starts telling other people to try to impress them with their knowledge, their cleverness. You see what I mean? So you have a whole bunch of egos all trying to impress each other, and one trying to climb above the other one and by putting the other ones down. See? So that's what's going on today. All right? So we fall into that scheme of things. We fall into that scheme of things. You're born into a fallen world, to a fallen mom who undoubtedly resents her husband, who's not there for her, and a weak man. See, or now the other thing is that men require, because of their egos, are separate from God. Okay? they're very wobbly and very on their throne and very insecure. So people are very insecure. They require constant. Now, instead of perpetually being renewed on a daily basis by God, now people require to be perpetually reassured every day. Okay? Reassured. To go out in the world and have someone say, "Oh, you look nice, you're looking good, you're doing well, and yes, you're right, and you're doing the best you can," and looking for reassurance and assurance. And men look to women to excite them, to excite their animal, and to lie to them. The man looks to the woman to lie to him and to tell him that animal is what is what manhood is really all about, which it is not. Okay, so she lies to him, makes him feel like he's a big man. Okay, and but she resents him for that. See, she has to. It's a ruse. She has to make him feel like he's a big man, and if she doesn't, see, well, she has the power because since he relies upon her for support of his ego, see, he becomes dependent on her support. So you see how men become dependent on her support? Now, of course, he can transfer that his allegiance and that support that he gets in reinforcement and reassurance, he can transfer it to money. See, she tempts him to be ambitious, pushes him out the door, and he is ambitious, but then he can fall to work. Then work becomes his everything, see? Or money, or another woman, or another man, see? So that's why men are so weak, and women know how weak men are. Weak, 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 weak. Because they crave, they're like drug addicts, craving reassurance for their fallen ego and craving the lie that their fallen animal self is what manhood really is all about. See? But women know that it's not. See, women are more aware than men. A man can live with a woman and he's like he's in hog heaven. Okay? He eats her food and she supports him in every way possible, and he just thinks everything is wonderful. But she's resenting him for his but underneath she resents him for his weakness. Okay? And she sees and she sees that he's growing weaker. And she sees that he's requiring her to lie to him. See, she resents him for that. See, but she also, some women blame themselves when they see him deteriorating from her love. See, a man needs God's love. He shouldn't need love from anyone else. It doesn't mean that he can't be a good husband and have a wife and that they have a wonderful marriage. It doesn't mean that. But it just means that he shouldn't need her love. You see the difference? He's supposed to give love. He shouldn't need love. He should have love to give. See? He should be the source of love. And where would he get his love? Because of his allegiance to God and his closeness to God, if he were to ever find God. His closeness to God. See, then he would reflect agape, emotionless love from God. See, and that would be the kind of love that would satisfy, see, his wife and his children. They need him to be the George Washington of the family, the Moses of the family, the Jeremiah of the family. See, they need him to be strong, noble, brave, long-suffering, patient, wise. See? All of those beautiful virtues that would come from his being close to God. But instead of being close to God, instead of God being his God, the woman is his God. Okay? So he worships women, worships mother, worships his wife. Okay? And so thereby he is recreated in her image, the image of the woman. See, he can take on her identity. See, instead of God's identity, he takes on the woman's identity. All right. So you see how that is. So ambitious men, failing men. See there whether a man succeeds in a bad way, succeeds by going out and trampling over other men and ambitiously grabbing for money and power and everything else, then he fails as far as what a real man is all about. But if he doesn't make the grade, or he burns out, or he cops out, or he gives up, throws in the towel, then he becomes a failure. But he's either way he's a failure. Fails to be what his wife and his children need him to be. See? That doesn't mean that a man that you can't be successful. I mean, have nice things and have money and so on. See, which you probably will if you live properly. You probably will have them, but it will be through industriousness, not ambition. It's okay to be industrious, not ambitious, and to not have to do bad things. See, to get them. If you live properly and save your money and live wisely and frugally and work hard and um, have all the beautiful virtues, then you will be successful in spirit and probably in materially also. Okay, but if you put the cart before the horse, see, what did Christ say? He said, "Put first the kingdom of God in His right way, and then all other things will be added unto you." But what do? We put the other things first. See, the other things first, and then God, if we even think about God at all, it's like an afterthought, see? So now you see how you could live and move and have your being close to God. That's the goal. That's the idea. Okay? So how are you going to do that? Well, that's what I've been trying to help people to find out how to do it. And it begins in the soul. So you can't find God out. You're not going to find Him outside. You're not going to find Him in a building or in a book, no matter how holy the book might be. You're not going to find Him in another person, in other people, in a preacher somewhere, or a philosopher, or a guru. See, you find God within, okay, and you find Him by standing back from all the things that have hitherto captured you. See, the drugs, the marijuana, the food, the party, the knowledge, the study, other people who have tempted you to either worship them and put them on a pedestal or to hate them, resent them, see? Whatever you've made too important. Winning a game, winning an award, being popular, see? Or even acquiring religious knowledge. Anything that you've made too important. Clothes, socializing, your iPhone, see, whatever you've made too important. Your pride, your ego, that people think well of you, or see, anything that you've made too important stands between you and God. So you're going to have to be able to start standing back, taking a step back from all those things. It doesn't mean that you have to give them all up, see, and go live on the side of a mountain somewhere. But it means that you have to stand back and look at them objectively and begin to see where it is that you're failing, where you've made things too important, where you've missed the boat. See, begin to see that, and seeing it, not roll up your sleeves egotistically and try to make yourself good, which is what you've tried before. You've always tried to make yourself better through knowledge and study and effort and willpower and setting goals. All they did was made you more prideful and cut you off from God even more. Now what you need is to stand back, look at, and find a way of standing back and observing yourself, your relationships, objectively. Okay? And there's nothing that is more helpful for you to find that kind of objectivity than the meditation that I have. See, because the intent of the meditation that I have is precisely that, to help you to stand back, not only from people and things, but also from thoughts. See, remember, Adam wanted to build his pride, this life apart from God, on knowledge, basically on thought stuff. Okay, words, religious knowledge, word study. See, that doesn't mean that words and knowledge can't be helpful, because they can, but they must always have understanding with them, or they must come from understanding. But when you just have knowledge alone, words alone, see, without understanding, then they become like a drug. See, then they become dangerous. Haven't you ever encountered someone who speaks, whose words have no understanding in them at all? It's frightening. Who talk in a bureaucratic, technocratic sort of a way without any love. See, well, it's pretty obvious, in those cases, but that's what we all do. We don't have love. We don't have understanding, because we're separate from love and understanding. Now, why do we stay separate from love and understanding? Number one, we're born into a fallen world. Your mom and dad were fallen. All they knew was the egotistical way of struggling and striving and living and then dying. Okay, that's all they knew. Okay, and your teachers and other people, see, may have been well-meaning, but they were also tempters. They too had not found that special way of living and moving and having your being close to God. They hadn't found it. Okay, so they were all compensation, and your coaches and everyone else. So there's no real love out there. The only real love is if somebody tells you the truth in such a way that it might wake you up. See, wake you up to realize that somehow you're missing the boat. That would be real love. See, well, that's why you mustn't resent criticism. Whether the criticism is well meant or whether it's not well meant, doesn't matter. If there's some validity to it, then the person is actually doing you a favor. See, we all fall into the comfort zone. So when everyone's failing, everybody is lying to each other. Okay, then we fall into a comfort zone. See, from which you might never, unless you're lucky and hear someone like me and begin to wake up and yearn for truth. See, yearn for the truth. Yearn for God. That's about all we can do, is yearn. But then the meditation is helpful. Okay, and then of course my books and my videos and my articles and blog posts and everything, they're helpful because they offer clues. See, if you were to practice the meditation, begin to become more objective, be able to stand back from things so you're not lost in things. See, now as I said earlier, when we try to build our life upon knowledge, see, then we end up getting lost in thought stuff, thinking about things, fantasizing, imagining, planning, scheming, or worrying. See how worrying is a false faith? Worrying is like constantly focusing on the problem, thinking that that's going to help, which it never does. Okay? Instead, you should be focusing on the solution. And what is the solution? The solution is to get closer to God and find His light. See, in the objective state, when you're not lost in things, hypnotically caught up in things, especially knowledge, okay, then you stand back so you're not totally lost in your drugs and your marijuana and your food and your alcohol and your work and your friends and your sports and shopping and everything else. If you stand back, if you can stand back enough, okay, that you're close enough to the light that you can begin to see in God's light. Okay? Then that light then, see, through you, then has a good effect on everything. Your health, your um, your mental state, your well-being, your relationships. Everything will change for the better as a result of now standing in God's light. Okay? So that's how you find it. Now the other thing that prevents us from finding God's light, most people don't find, because they only know God's light as conscience, and they don't like conscience because it makes them feel bad. So they run from conscience. They run from God. Okay? Because they want someone to lie to them and to reassure them and comfort them and tell them that they're okay the way they are. Whereas conscience makes you aware that you're not okay the way you are, see? So now you see how God separates the wheat from the chaff. See? Those people who love truth enough, they love truth enough so that they're willing to admit the truth even though it means that they have to see that they're wrong. See what I mean? That's a beautiful thing. Okay? So now you got the idea. So I heartily welcome you to try the meditation. When I say the meditation, I have several different ones, but they're all basically the same. They have a little different focus. Okay? You might start with the easy meditation or the prayer meditation because they're free. They're very short, easy to learn. Okay? Very easy. So those, and they're free. Of course, I have other meditations. I have one for pain, one for anger, where I talk about managing anger, overcoming anger. Okay? And then I have, what else do I have? I have one for anxiety. And I have the beautiful 4-part classic meditation. Very nice. Very, very nice. 4 parts. It's longer, it's more elaborate. It's beautiful. And with it, you get 2 ebooks. Becoming a Friend of God. And also, you get a brief, my new book entitled A Brief Introduction to Stress Management, which is actually a renaming of a book which I had written before, Conquering Stress. So those books, you get those 2 books and a booklet, all with the 4-part meditation. But I ask for a suggested donation of $10 for that, which is not very much. Believe me, that's not very much. You could spend $10 on a lunch somewhere, or some useless book that doesn't do you any good. But you don't have to spend a suggested donation of $10 for it. You can get the free meditation. Okay, just get the free one. It won't cost you anything. But I really encourage you to get started. Okay, so you get a handle on stress, manage your emotions, become more objective, see clearly, stop making so many mistakes. Okay, and start living and moving and having your being in God's light. My name is Roland.